Hi, I'm Marty Schupak, and welcome to this live stream. Hopefully, you're watching this, and let's hope that this stream stays on. Sometimes you lose service, but so far so good. I want to thank a couple of places: Pine Grove Little League. I want to thank Winterdale Youth Association. I also want to thank Petersburg Little League. They're going to be going in and out, but I'm going to put this up on the Schupak Sports website afterwards. So if you only watch it partially or you have to leave, you'll be able to go on Schupak Sports and it'll be up. It'll be up probably later this morning. I'm going to go through a number of different things. I'm going to go through a team drill. I'm going to go through a couple of concepts. I am going to go through a couple of uh, fun drills that teams like and an individual drill. And then I'm going to go through a hitting drill. And then I'm going to go through a first and third advanced strategy. And we're going to end this with batting practice, how I run or ran an efficient batting practice. I coached for 30 years. I'm going to do this, and I'm not on the field, but I'm going to literally hold up a picture and then try to describe it. Okay. So hopefully you'll see exactly what's going on, and hopefully the microphone will pick up my sound. All right. This is what I call the cross infield drill. My theory is to get as many repetitions to a team in the shortest period of time. I run my practices anywhere from an hour, 60 minutes to an hour and a half. And we're talking about youth baseball or softball, ages like 8 to like 13. Excuse me. You can adjust it anywhere you can, what's good. Now, on this cross infield drill, what I do is, and I always use like 12 players. I have 4 groups of 3 players. Okay. I have 1 set between first and second. I'm sorry, 2 sets between first and second, 2 sets between second and third. I have a coach here. This coach will hit to these 2 lines, and this coach will hit to these 2 lines. Now, the only thing that's missing from this picture, I usually will take either a player or an assistant coach down here, and after I hit the ball or the coach hits the ball, he throws it to the player with the glove. It's not showing that, but what happens here is this coach will hit to this side. So he'll hit to, let's say, the first player here at third base. I just want to make sure that is third. This is third base. And he'll throw it back here to the coach who's standing next to him. After he throws it, he goes to the end of this line, okay? While this is happening, this coach is doing the same thing to these 2 lines. Again, after the player goes, he throws the ball back to an assistant coach standing here. He goes to the end of the next line. What I usually like to do is work with 2 baseballs. So after I hit a ball, I turn around to the assistant coach who's holding a baseball. He'll flip me a ball. I like to have this where everything is moving, the coaches, the players, and everything. The thing you have to tell your players, though, on a missed hit, tell them not to charge it, because if they charge it, they're going to get a mouthful of a baseball from the other side. You have to yell out, leave it, and you'll just give them another chance. I always have a bucket of balls nearby where I'm doing the drill from. Okay, so this is the cross infield drill. Again, let me just go through quickly. I have 2 coaches here. Picture's not shown, assistant coach or a player. They'll hit ground. This coach will hit, the coach between home and first will hit ground balls to the 2 lines between second and third. After he hits the ball to the first one, who throws it, to the assistant coach there. This player goes to the end of the next line, and then the coach will hit it to this player. He'll go to the end of the next line there. This is constant movement. It's going back and forth. This coach is hitting it to these lines. Okay, again, all the activity is here. If on a miss hit, you have to yell, leave it, and tell the players before the drill not to charge the ball. It's a very, very good drill. They get a lot of repetitions in a short period of time. That's the cross infield drill. Okay. Now, a concept that would drive me crazy was on a ball hit, to the right side of the infield, teaching my pitchers how to cover first. So if a ball's hit to this side, I teach my pitchers to run towards the first base line. To me, it's very important that they don't take an angle exactly to first base. I want them to go here and then run straight. And the reason being, I believe it's a lot better when a player is leading the fielder or the pitcher with the ball underhanded than if he's going directly to the base. Okay, I think it's a lot easier. He's directly almost facing whoever's fielding the ball. Now, I do this with not just pitchers, I do it with everyone else. Okay? All right. So that's that drill. Now, hang on. Let me just answer this. Emergency call. Of course, we get emergency calls. And let me just see. Hold on just a second. All right, we're going to go to another drill. Okay. Hold on. All right. So that's the concept of leading the player to first base. This, I'm going to go over another concept. And this is going to seem so basic, but I'm going to explain why I do it. I line the players out in the outfield with their backs turned. I have the first player face me, and I will hit or throw a ball, and I just want the player to take an angle to stop it. And you'll ask, why do I do this? It's so basic. And the reason being, years ago, I had actually two players. They were good athletes. And for some reason, when the ball was hit in the outfield, they would like run parallel to the ball until it stopped. I just want the players to get used to taking an angle and stopping the ball as it goes into the outfield. All right. It's a drill you only really have to do once at the beginning of the year. And I call it cut off the moving ball. All right. Next drill is the rundown drill. And what I do is I have two groups. One group between second and third, and one group between third and home. Helmets are worn. And the player starts in the middle, they start with the ball, and when I say go, this group's got to get this guy in a rundown and tag him out, and the same thing with this group. One thing about rundowns, keep in mind, I teach my players a couple of things. The best number of throws in a rundown is 0. The second best is 1. All right. A lot of coaches on the youth level only teach their team running back to the base, and they don't go after the out. I think that's not good baseball, not good baseball fundamentals. I consider rundowns God's gift to your team to get, I don't want to say an easy out, to get a very, very close to being easy out. And what I teach my team is in a rundown, you want to get them the base running in what I called the sprint mode. Once they're in a sprint mode, you could throw it and get them out. The second best number of throws is 1. I found after you get you go past either 0 throws or 1 throw, there's a good chance the base runner could somehow get safe to a base. Don't just run the player back to the base, okay? Get the out. Get the player, teach your team to get the base runner in a sprint mode. You could set this drill up into a game that if they get a player out, it's 1 point. If the player gets to a base save, it's 2 points. And then rotate. Okay, again, make sure they wear helmets. Okay. We'll go into a individual drill, but before I do, I just want to, and I'm going to try to give some basic tips. Don't overlook if you didn't do it this season, if you're in a season, have a parents' meeting at the beginning of the year. I didn't do it my first 5 years, and then I began to do it, and it just really changed everything. I cut down parental complaints anywhere from 40 to 60%. You're not going to ever cut them all down, okay? But you'll cut some of them down. A parents' meeting, 15 to 20 minutes. It's a great idea. And I highly recommend it. Get into the habit. If you didn't do it this year, do it next year. And not just baseball or softball. If you're coaching anything like basketball, hockey, or youth football, have a parents' meeting. Remember, the one of the biggest complaints you're going to get is playing time. So you have to spell out what your philosophy is as far as playing time, as long as it adheres to the league rules, okay? Have a parents' meeting. And another thing is at the parents' meeting, and I've said this over and over if you followed me, make sure the parents have an updated eye test and hearing test. Very important. In my 30 years of coaching, I changed the career of 2 players just with an eye test. And I always tell the story years ago about a hearing test. The late great coach Vince Lombardi, his last year coaching the Washington Redskins, excuse me, the running back Larry Brown, Lombardi noticed he was not getting off the ball as far as the height count by the quarterback. And at the time, the NFL was not high tech. He determined that Larry Brown's hearing was not good. He had bad hearing after a hearing test. He got permission from the NFL. They put like speakers in his helmet, and the rest is history. Larry Brown went on to lead the NFL in rushing twice. He was a wonderful running back to watch. All right, here we go. This is a fun drill. You could do it in your backyard, at the schoolyard. I've done it with young kids, old kids, whatever. Take a 4-inch cinder block. You bounce a tennis ball off it. You're using an old tennis racket, and he swings the tennis racket like a baseball bat, and he hits the tennis ball, hits it into space. Fun drill. The picture's not showing. The ball's actually going to go straight up. As you bounce the ball straight up, the coach or you have to back up. You don't want to get a mouthful of a tennis racket. Kids like it. You're putting the kids in a position to succeed with a large face of a tennis racket rather than a baseball bat. So they really like that. Okay. Next drill. Okay, hang on. This is a fun drill, and the kids, they really like this. They it's called the rapid throw drill. I divide the team in half. I try to do it according to ability. You don't want to put the 2 best players as teammates. They're across from each other. Okay, I give each pair a ball, and I give them a second ball that they put at their feet. Now, this picture isn't showing it. As in all drills, safety trumps everything. You have to spread them out further. What I do is I start with like 10 seconds. On the go command, the players have to start throwing back and forth and see how many times they could throw the ball to each other. And what you'll notice is in this drill, they're going to catch the ball, and the transfer to the hand will be quick, and they know it has to be quick, and you'll see their footwork will be pretty good. So it's a rapid throw drill. After 10 seconds, I'll go down the line and say how many, I'll get a number, then we'll increase it to 15 seconds. When I do that, I have one line take like 5 steps back. So increase it. The team really likes this. It's a fun drill. Again, you give them a second ball at their feet. So if one ball goes over, they continue in the same drill, the same set. It's the rapid throw drill. Okay. When you're coaching, all right, and I mentioned parents meeting and complaints, make sure if you see a problem, I always like to be proactive. And at the time, I wasn't that outgoing. I became more outgoing as I got older. And when I mean proactive, if you see something going on or you get a bad feeling, pick up the phone and say, hey, Mr. Brown, this is Coach Schupak. Is something on your mind? It seems like something is bothering you when I get bad vibes. And he'll tell you, well, yeah, you're not playing my son enough. Or why is my son always in left field? Be proactive, get it out of the way, get the reputation that you're like a problem solver. It'll help you become a better coach, and it'll help you throughout the league. The next drill is it's the outfield relay drill. What I do here is I take boxes. I put them at home plate. I usually put a cone on top. 2 teams, one's in left center, one's in right center, coaches with each team with a bucket of balls. 1 player's on the infield. And what the coach does, it doesn't really show it here. He'll throw a ball past the line, and the first person line, he's got, when the coach says go, he's got to run, pick up the ball. There's 1 player in the infield. He moves out. The player in the outfield throws the ball to the relay man, and then he turns and he tries to knock down the bucket. And what I do in this drill is, if the ball reaches the player on a fly, it's 1 point. If the relay man turns to his glove side, it's 1 point. If he knocks down the cone, it's 2 points. So you get 4 points per round. After a team goes, the other team will go. But while that's happening, he goes to the end of the line, and then we have the next player move up as the relay man. So again, this is the outfield relay drill. Everybody gets a chance. I usually have another coach, or actually it's usually me, down here. But when they knock down the boxes with the cone, I set it up. You go to either 7 points or 11. You want to give every player a chance at both positions. It's the outfield relay drill. Okay. I want to talk about a drill that I kind of invented. I call it the continuation drill, but I want to mention too, hitting. What I learned over the years, and I learned from a good friend of mine, Bobby Woods, who's a hitting instructor, you want to make sure your batters, if anything, they're relaxed at home plate. Remember that a relaxed hitter is a dangerous hitter. I always gave it a lot more stock when I saw a player was very, very relaxed. He might not have had the best technique as far as hitting. So try to get your players relaxed and keep an eye on the players that are good but that aren't relaxed. And you could use different techniques. Okay, the continuation drill. What I did was this. First of all, when players arrive at practice, I give them a number. First person there is number 1, second one, number 2, and so on. That's the order they take batting practice and any other hitting drills you have. On this continuation drill, all right, what I do is the first person is up, and when I pitch the ball, if he swings and misses, or if he swings and the ball is foul, or it's caught in the air like a fly ball, the next person goes. If the ball is hit on the ground, okay, he stays up until he gets 5 chances. What I'm doing is I'm teaching players really to try to cut down on your swing and make contact with the ball. You have to make sure, though, the players don't chop down on the ball. They have nice level swings. And I do this in a game. When a player has 2 strikes, I'll yell from the third base coaching box, continuation drill. And this works, okay? Now, the one thing you have to really recognize is when a player makes out, or a couple players make out in a row, and players are moving in and out, there's a lot of activity, so make sure you try not to pitch the ball, all right, until players are set in their position. You don't want anyone to get hurt. It's called the continuation drill. You're rewarding players for hitting ground balls, all right? On youth level, more good things happen for hitters and on offense on ground balls than fly balls. Remember that. Okay, and one book that I look at over the years is a book by Charlie Lau, or actually his son. It's called Lau's Laws. If you get a chance, it's a very good book on hitting, even simplified for people like me and you. You don't have to be a high technician. I want to go over a strategy, okay? It's the first and third, when the runner's at first and third, this is a strategy I call creating doubt. You might have seen me do this before. And it's worked. I've done it like 3 times. It's worked twice. Once it worked great. I got a double play. But as in all strategies, in all sports, you have to make sure you have the right personnel to do it. If you have players that don't have a concept or don't have the athletic ability to do it, it just won't happen. In this drill, what I do is I have the shortstop go down between the pitcher and second base. He's to the side. He has his glove on, all right? And we'll have a sign that we're putting the create doubt, the name of this strategy, in play. I might have rub my chin with the glove, and I will call the catcher's name and say, give him a good target. And the catcher has to acknowledge it. And so does the shortstop, and so does the pitcher by rubbing their cheek. I move the shortstop down here, okay? If they send the runner, I have the catcher, first of all, we call a pitch out. I have him throw down the second. On this play, the second baseman covers. But what I'm doing is I'm putting the shortstop in a position. He's becoming like an actor. And he's going to time the ball as it passes him. He's going to reach up with his glove hand, come down like he has the ball. And I'm going to put on my glove. And he's going to face, and I know it's looking opposite on the screen, but he's going to face third base, looking at the base runner like he has the ball. Meanwhile, as that is going on, if they send the runner, the ball's going down and they're getting him out. And what you're doing is, by the shortstop pretending he has the ball, he's looking at third base. You're going into the head of the third base coach, and you're creating a doubt. That's why I call it creating doubt. When you create doubt, it's only for an instant, not even a second. But that instant will get you an out at second base. And sometimes it happened once, the coach will send the runner late. And in my case, I had the second baseman throw it down, and we got a double play. So listen, you have to have the personnel. It'll work. It's called creating doubt. You could practice it. You have the shortstop on the throw down. As soon as it passes him, he reaches up like he's grabbing it, and then he just faces third base, looks at the runner. The coach is looking him in the eye, and you're just creating a small instant of doubt. Okay, let's get into batting practice, one of the reasons I became a youth coach at the time is I attended my oldest son's practice, and all it was 2 hours of batting practice. It was boring for the players. It was boring for the parents that were watching, and it just dragged on and on. I developed my own technique. I'll go through it, and you could adjust it any way you want. What I do is I'm a big proponent of bunting. I reward my players when they bunt well. I set up 2 cones on the third base side. Okay. That's number one. Number two, I use 2 empty 5-gallon buckets, one behind the pitcher's mound and one behind second base. Okay. Now, again, remember what I just said. As the players come to practice, I give them numbers. Those numbers are the order they're going to bat in batting practice. What this does also, it helps to get players to practice on time. Okay, I'm going to just jump to this picture just to show you. I make sure I have an L screen. Okay, and I move to the base of the mound with the L screen. If your league doesn't have one, I highly encourage it. It's a safety thing. All right. I also do this. I set up 2 stations outside on the other side of the fence. And I have 2 assistant coaches there. One's having players hit off the tee, the other's doing the toss drill with what I call rag balls. It's a rag wrapped up in a masking tape. So if I have 12 players in this and they're numbered 1 to 12, what I do is this. I always have the on-deck batter waiting to hit, and I'll show you what I mean. If you look here, you see number 1 is on deck. I'm sorry, number 1 is hitting. Number 2 is on deck. He's ready to hit. He's got to be ready to hit. Number 3 is hitting off the tee. Number 4 is doing the toss. The reason I do this, I want to move in this, make sure it's safe. I don't want to yell, okay, next, number 2, and he's there taking 30 seconds to a minute, putting on his batting gloves. The person on deck is ready to hit. If he's not, you have to skip him. All right? So logistically, this is how it's done. I have the batter who's up first, and I have a determined number of swings. Let's say it's going to be 7 swings. The first 2 pitches, he'll bunt. If one goes through the cones, he gets an extra swing. So 7 swings turns into 8. On the second pitch, he bunts, it goes through again. He gets another extra swing. So the player can get up to 9 swings, and then he'll start hitting. The reason for the buckets, when it's hit to the fielders, there's no play at first base. There's nothing like for the batter, run the last one out. Batting practice is batting practice. It's not base running practice. It's not throwing practice. I want the fielders to toss underhand as close to the bucket as they can. So the infielders will toss it to this bucket. The outfielders will go to this bucket. At the end of every few hitters, I'll say, okay, let's gather up the balls and throw it into the bucket. And what you'll see is a lot of players will pick them up and like play basketball with them. Try not to have them do that. And what I do is sometimes I alleviate that during the season. I say, okay, let's play a little basketball with the balls. And they love that. But we get the balls back in the bucket as fast as possible. This is an efficient way of running batting practice, getting players enough hits, enough repetitions. Remember, they're getting repetitions before they hit in 2 different stations. They'll rotate. The one on deck is ready to hit. The first 2 are bunts between the cones. They're not throwing to first base. They're tossing it to the buckets. And they're not running the last one out. And that's how I ran batting practice, and it did it for a long time. It evolved. And what I would say to this is anytime you can make anything that I show you better, do it. Okay. And oh, the other thing is, again, I moved to the base of the mound, and I always have more than one ball in my glove. I'm ready to hit. And you could do the gimmick that all coaches do, where you put balls on a ball stand next to you. I don't do that. I don't like spending any extra money. I take two 5-gallon buckets empty. I put one on top of the other. And that's what I do. I rotate the buckets that are filled and the buckets that are empty. All right. I don't like spending a lot of extra money. I tell coaches, if you're going to spend any extra money, do it on baseballs. And when I say do it on baseballs, don't just leave the field after practice. Make sure you have your team comb the field, get every ball you started out with. And also, I've come across extra baseballs after my practices. We're going to wrap it up. People ask me about products. I'll just point out a couple. This is a product, the baseball coach and a guide to the youth coach and parents. You don't have to go out and buy it. Actually, this is one I'd recommend you buying it, because I'd also recommend you buy the ebook. We have over 60 sample practices. And the reason why I'd recommend buying this one, the ebook on the 60 sample practices, if you click on the drill, it takes you right to the page. So I highly recommend that. If you don't have the money, don't buy it. Go to your local library, go to the reference department. They'll fight you because I self-publish my books, but ask them and they'll get it. The other book is this, Championship Baseball Drills. Again, highly recommend it. Don't buy it if you don't have the money. Go to your library, they'll buy it for you. Every drill is set up with a picture, like the picture you've seen, and I give the benefit and how to do it. And I think that's going to be it. We're going to wrap it up. Again, I want to thank those leagues. Please share this with any one of your leagues, your parents, your team. We'll do another one probably in a few weeks. And I want to thank those leagues that showed an interest. And we're going to wrap it up. So until next time, please try to go to Schupak Sports. I'm trying to build this channel to give as much content to make you a better coach, and more importantly, you a better parent. So we're going to wrap it up. So that's it. I'm Marty Schupak. Until next time.